Some women greet you like it's nothing, while silently begging you to make them yours. But you don't see it, not because you're clueless, but because no one ever taught you how to see with the eyes of a man who understands female desire. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A mature woman never comes at you head-on. She leaves you hints, gestures, silences, and if you don't pick up on them, she simply walks away. No drama, no complaints. She just disappears. And you're left wondering what you did wrong. Today I'm going to show you how a woman greets you when she wants you more than she dares to admit. And more importantly, how to recognize that final signal, the most dangerous, the most direct, because if you miss it, you could lose her for good. I'm Celia, and if you're bold enough to stay until the end, I'll reveal what no woman would ever dare say to your face. Have you ever felt like a woman treats you the same as always, but something in the way she looks at you, moves, or speaks feels different? Has it happened that later you find out she actually liked you, but she swore she gave you all the signs? Then listen closely, because this is the first way a mature woman greets you when she's crazy about you, and you don't even notice it, when her greeting feels routine, but it's all an act. Here's the mistake many men make. They think the real signs are flashy. They expect a big smile, obvious flirting, some cheeky line. But a woman who's lived, who knows what she wants and doesn't need approval, doesn't act like an excited teenager. She plays her game with elegance, with subtlety. And you miss it because you're waiting for fireworks, when what you should be watching for is the tremble in her fingers as she adjusts her neckline before saying hello. She arrives, greets you like always. Same words, even the same tone. But right before that, when she sees you, her shoulders drop just a little. She touches her neck. She fixes her blouse in an automatic gesture. That's not habit, that's preparation. It's that mix of nerves and desire that makes her want to look good, without seeming like she cares. But she does care. A lot. The thing is, you're too focused on what she says, and not on what she does when she thinks you're not watching. Picture it like this. She's an actress on stage. Her lines are perfect. She says hi in the same voice she uses with everyone else. But before she steps in, behind the curtain, she fixes herself in the mirror, takes a deep breath, and thinks of you. Of what you'll say. Of whether you'll notice her perfume. Of whether today's the day you finally see what she's been quietly wanting for a while. You only see the greeting. But the real moment happened seconds earlier, when she decided she wanted to look better for you today than she did yesterday. That's what a mature woman does when she starts to desire you. She doesn't change what's obvious. She changes what's invisible. And if you're not trained to see that, you'll keep thinking every woman treats you the same, when in reality, one of them is turning every greeting into a silent invitation. One you haven't dared to read yet. If the first point was about how a mature woman can use routine to disguise her desire, now it's time to talk about the second problem that clouds many men's ability to read a woman's signals. And that problem lies in the smile that lingers after she says hi. Look, we live in a world where gestures have been tamed. Everything seems polite, proper, politically correct. And many men have fallen into that trap, thinking that a woman's smile is just universal courtesy, just another social gesture, and not a sign of restrained attraction. But there's a big difference between a smile that fades with the greeting and one that clings to her face like she can't get rid of it. That, my friend, is not politeness. It's a crack in the emotional armor. It's her body revealing something her mind is trying to hide. From an emotional psychology perspective, that leftover smile after a greeting isn't accidental. It's a micro-expression that appears when what she feels inside isn't fully under control. Her mind wants to keep things composed, but the body, when real desire is involved, doesn't fully cooperate. That lingering smile is the emotional equivalent of a sigh she won't allow herself to release. And if you don't get this, if you don't learn to tell the difference between a woman smiling out of politeness and one smiling because she genuinely can't help it, you're emotionally blind. And the worst part, you don't even know it. Stoicism teaches us to live with awareness, not like impulsive animals, but like men who master their senses. And mastering your senses also means seeing what goes unsaid, A mature woman won't confess her desire with words. She'll let it slip through her eyes, through a lingering greeting, through that curve of her lips that escapes when there's no logical reason left to keep smiling. And if you can't detect that leak of desire, then you're not ready to seduce her. Because she's not going to explain how she feels. She's going to wait for you to read it. And if you don't, she'll walk away convinced you weren't the man her intuition had chosen. So next time a woman greets you, watch what happens after the greeting. That extra second, that glow that lingers, that smile that survives the hi, might be the key to something she's been wanting to show you for a while. And you, either distracted or unaware, keep letting it slip away. If you've stayed with me this far, you already know that a woman who desires you won't always say it, but her body will scream it through the tiniest details. And now we've reached the third point in this video. This is where things start to shift. Because now we're talking about the kind of physical greeting that lasts half a second longer. Just half a second. Sounds like nothing. But for a woman holding herself back, that moment feels like forever. This isn't about obvious hugs or caresses. It's about the kind of touch that seems casual, but isn't. A brush that lingers, a hand that stays on your arm just a bit longer, a cheek kiss that leans closer to your neck rather than staying in the air. She touches you as if she doesn't mean to, but her body doesn't want to let go. And if you miss that extra half second, that moment when her skin says what her lips won't, then you're missing the entire language of female desire. The strategy here is simple, but it requires awareness. When a woman greets you, don't just focus on whether she touches you. Pay attention to how she ends the contact. Is it quick, cold, automatic, or slow, like she doesn't really want to let go? Watch her fingers. Do they press you lightly? Do they brush your hand for no reason? That's not manners. That's restrained desire looking for a way out. The human body doesn't lie. When the skin wants someone, it doesn't want to leave their side. A man who understands this doesn't rush. He doesn't react like an excited teenager. He lets her touch and subtly extends the moment. If she places her hand on your shoulder, you don't pull away or tense up. You stay there. You return her presence. You make her feel that you're there and that you felt her. It's a game of silent physical cues, and the man who learns to play it enters her mind without saying a single word. Think of it this way. If she greets you with an excuse to touch you, and you don't give her a sign that you noticed, it's like slamming a door in her face. And trust me, not every woman will knock twice. Some, if they don't feel a response, will walk away without a sound, and you'll have no idea what you just lost. Before we move on to the deeper signals, hit subscribe and give this video a like if it's opening your eyes. I want to know what country you're watching from. And if you've ever experienced something like this, leave me a comment with this phrase, "I've lived it." There are still more powerful signals to uncover. And the last one might change forever the way you respond when a woman gives herself to you, without saying a word. Now we move on to something that seems insignificant, but hides a burning desire underneath. And I'll say it straight. If a woman greets you by saying your name, slowly, twice, she's already starting to undress for you. But with her voice. This is the fourth point of the video, and it's about the personal greeting. Your name, repeated, slow. And yes, it's more dangerous than you think, because if you don't know how to respond, you might shut her down without even realizing it. Picture it. She walks in, sees you, smiles, and says, "Hi, Daniel," softly, with a pause that didn't need to be there. Or maybe she says, "Hi, Daniel. How are you, Daniel?" Do you really think she's repeating your name because she forgot it? No, love. She's repeating it because saying it lets her savor you. Because when a woman starts to want you, she needs to name you. And if you don't notice, if you reply with a cold, flat, "Hey," staring at your phone or greeting everyone like it's nothing, you just killed the moment. And trust me, when a woman begins to release desire, she needs to see that you can handle it, without flinching. Here's the practical part. What do you do when a woman says your name like that? First, look at her. Not like a friend. Look at her like a man. Steady, grounded, unhurried. Second, don't reply the same way. Don't say her name. Play it differently. Respond with a silent smile with a look that says, I know what you're doing, and I like it. If you want to turn it up, step just a little closer, tilt your head slightly, and say something like, my name sounds different coming from you today. You have no idea how powerful that is. The biggest mistake you make is overthinking it. You assume that if she says your name, it's just manners, but it's not. A woman who wants to seduce you won't come straight at you. She circles you, sings to you without a song. And if you don't dance to that rhythm, she feels alone in the game and walks away. Not because she's offended, but because she doesn't want to carry the weight of a man who can't read between the lines. I'll say it again. If a mature woman starts repeating your name, it's because she's already imagining it somewhere else. Maybe whispered, maybe spoken in a moment when control slips away. And if you've got any fire in you, you'll return that energy with intelligence, not indifference. Play with her, return the look, tease her without being obvious. Because when a woman reaches the point of saying your name with desire, she's not far from giving you much more. She just needs to know if you can hold her when she does. We're stepping into deeper territory now, more intimate, more visceral. At this point, it's no longer just about gestures or words, but impulses trying to break free, even if she hasn't admitted it yet. This is the 5th point of the video, the visual greeting, before a single word is spoken. And if you keep ignoring this, if you don't understand what happens in those silent seconds before the hi, you're on track to becoming the kind of man who always arrives too late to a woman's desire. Let me be clear. When a woman truly wants you, her body reacts before her mind. And if you're the type of man who only listens to what's said out loud, you've already lost. Because desire starts in the eyes. If she looks down the moment she sees you, if she scans you from head to toe even while trying to hide it, if she wets her lips or subtly adjusts her posture, she's already speaking to you. The real greeting happened before her voice ever came out. And if you walk in like nothing's happening with that nice guy face, ignoring the visual tension, she feels it, and she cools off. The big mistake here is thinking silence doesn't speak, thinking that if no words are exchanged, nothing is happening. And for a mature man, that's a tragedy, because you become blind to the essential. You miss the moment. And she, who allowed herself to desire you for a second, retreats back into her shell. Because she didn't feel that spark in you, didn't feel the invitation to go further. Let me be blunt. If you don't know how to read a woman's look, you'll spend your life seducing through effort instead of through presence. But this has a solution, and it's not about doing more. It's about being more. It's about training yourself to hold her gaze without fear. To recognize that visual exchange for what it is, a door opening, one that doesn't stay open for long. When a woman looks at you like that, your job is to meet her gaze with steadiness, not with need, not with hunger, with control, with a subtle smile that says, I saw you, and I'm here. Don't look away. Don't rush to speak. Stay with it. Breathe. That tension in the silence might be the difference between a forgettable night or a story that changes everything. The mindset you need is this: stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for perfect signs. A woman who wants you won't always come right out and say it, but she will always show it. The problem is, you've learned to look without seeing, and that's why you fall into frustration, into dependency, into trying to force something you could have received effortlessly, if only you'd been present from the very first second. Breaking this pattern is possible, but not with theory, with practice, with the courage to look at a woman like a man, not like a friend, not like a spectator. Because when she greets you with her eyes before saying a word, she's inviting you in without making a sound. And it's up to you. Do you dare to step in, or will you keep standing outside? If in the last point you learn to recognize desire before it's ever spoken, now it's time to see what happens when that desire begins to clash with something even stronger: female competition. Because the 6th point in this video takes us into delicate and revealing territory, the greeting that changes when other women are around. And if you're not paying attention, you'll keep getting played, without even knowing by whom. Picture this. You walk into a room. She's there. If you're alone, she greets you sweetly, with that spark in her eyes that only slips out when something stirs her deep inside. But if you walk in with someone, or there's another woman nearby, the greeting shifts. It might turn colder, shorter, more formal, or the complete opposite, more affectionate, over the top, almost possessive. And that's where most men mess up, because they think the shift is about her mood, when in reality it's about something else, staking a claim or protecting herself. And both of those reveal desire. Let me spell it out. A woman who feels nothing for you doesn't change her greeting for anyone. She stays the same whether you're alone or surrounded. But if her behavior shifts the moment another woman's in the picture, you've got a crystal clear sign that she's emotionally involved. The problem is, you don't want to make things uncomfortable. You don't want to misread the situation. You've been sold the idea that second-guessing everything makes you mature, when in fact, it's just you looking the other way. And what you won't face will run right over you. Now imagine this. She greets you differently because another woman's there. You notice it, but don't respond. You don't change your look, don't make a move. Inside, she feels you've lost control of the moment, that she sent you a message and you missed it. And when that happens, she pulls back, tells herself, he's not the man I thought he was. She wasn't looking for a scene. She wanted a subtle response, a signal from you that said, I saw you, and I know exactly what you're doing. But once again, you let it pass. Staying stuck in this pattern makes you a spectator in your own life. You become that guy who's always late to the moment, the one who says, I thought we were just friends, when the truth is, you just didn't know how to read the language of a woman desiring you without permission. It's harsh, but it's real. If you can't detect a woman's subtle shift when she feels threatened by another, then you're no longer playing the game. The game is playing you. And the only way out is to allow yourself to see without fear. To recognize that shift in energy, that tension, that flicker of jealousy, and use it. Not to confront her, but to meet her with strength. To return her signal with a masculine presence that calms her. That says, you don't have to compete because I already see you. That, to a woman, means more than any sweet word. That undresses her without laying a finger on her. If you've made it this far with me, you can't claim ignorance anymore. You can't hide behind, I didn't get it, or she wasn't clear. Because I've shown you how a mature woman, when she desires you, greets you with her body, with her eyes, with her gestures, long before she dares to use words. And now, in the seventh and final point of this video, we've reached the most direct, the most revealing sign, the greeting that comes disguised as a question. This is the moment when she can't hold back anymore, when desire slips out in the form of subtle concern. She greets you with something like, did you sleep well? Are you here alone? Coming from work? And you think she's just being polite. But no, she's testing the waters. She's checking the ground, because she already wants more, but she needs to know if she can move forward. That question isn't a coincidence, it's strategy. And if you don't see it, if you answer like you're talking to your aunt, you don't deserve for her to take the next step. Each of those questions is an excuse to get closer, without being obvious. It's her trying to slip into your life through a crack in the door without pushing it open. And if you don't seize that moment, if you don't respond with presence, with charm, with a line that keeps the game going, she'll dim her light. She'll say to herself, this man is asleep, and start pulling away. Because yes, women pull away too. Only they do it silently. First in desire, then in body. And if you don't change, you won't even notice when you lost her. This is the moment to be honest with yourself. No more excuses. You can't keep blaming them for not being direct. That's not their language. It never was. They tell you everything, just not with the words you expect. And if you don't train yourself to understand them, you'll keep being that nice, well-meaning guy who's invisible, because they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for presence. They desire a man who knows how to read what they barely dare to hint at. What you do with this is up to you. You can keep ignoring those questions, answering like a robot, losing over and over the women who are just waiting for you to take the lead. Or you can start seeing things differently, speaking differently, acting like a man who understands the value of those gestures, and the meaning behind those disguised words. Because let me tell you straight, when a woman asks how you slept, she doesn't care about the answer. She wants to know if you're the man who'll make her feel awake. If you've made it this far, you're one of the few. Not because you're special, but because you chose to face a truth that makes many men uncomfortable. Female desire isn't shouted, it's hinted at. And if you don't learn to read it, you'll keep losing real chances with women who had already chosen you, but got tired of waiting for you to figure it out. There are no excuses. No age justifies emotional blindness. Today, you know what you used to ignore. And now, every greeting you receive will be a test. This channel isn't for everyone. It's for those who would rather hear a hard truth than a comforting lie. For those who are done being the nice guy no one remembers, and want to become the man who is steady, clear, desirable. The man who walks into a room and doesn't go unnoticed. I'm Celia, and this is House of Wisdom. I'm here to remind you how women think, how they feel, how they test, because they won't say it, but I will. Drop this phrase in the comments. I lead with wisdom, and let me know what country you're watching from. Seeing those words will be the sign that you're ready to see differently and live differently. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Share this video with that friend who's always confused, who doesn't understand why women walk away without warning. Maybe today, what you've learned, he needs too. And this doesn't end here. Watch the 2 videos that are about to pop up on screen. One will show you how to detect when a woman is testing you, without saying a single word. The other will reveal the biggest mistake a grown man can make with a woman who desires him. The choice is yours, because real change begins when you choose to keep watching.